Take a look at he signs by AutoPen. Who is signing all this stuff by AutoPen? Who would think you sign important documents by AutoPen? You know, these are major documents you're signing. You're proud to sign them. You have your signature on something. In 300 years, they say, oh, look, can you imagine? Everything was signed by AutoPen, almost everything. Nobody's ever heard of such a thing. So should have never happened.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to my channel. President Trump has just dropped a bombshell as he declares Biden's last-minute pardons before leaving office to be void due to the alleged use of AutoPen. Trump argued that Joe Biden did not sign them and, more likely, did not know anything about them. Also, Democrats' approval rating is now on a free fall after a series of new political polls show shocking historic low approval rating as party tears itself apart over Schumer's decision not to filibuster shutdown. So guys, before we go into the video, kindly give us a thumbs up and subscribe so not to miss any new updates that I post.
First up this morning, a brand new exclusive CNN poll that paints a brutal reality for Democrats as they struggle to mount a unified opposition to President Trump. Americans' favorable views of the Democratic Party's brand are at a record low, just 29%. That's compared to 36% for Republicans. It is the lowest ever recorded for Democrats in CNN polling going back more than 30 years. As you can see, the party's numbers dropping a staggering 20 points in just 4 years. The CNN SRSR's poll also found 57% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters are more interested in seeing their party leaders stop the GOP agenda, compared to 42% who are more interested in cutting bipartisan deals. It is a big shift from where the party stood at the start of Trump's first term in 2017. Now, this survey was taken before this week's tumultuous battle over funding the government, which resulted in one of the ugliest intra-party Democratic disputes in years, and left many in the party lobbying furious attacks at Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, who ultimately reversed course and let a GOP bill funding the government become law in order to avert a shutdown. Now, a bitter round of finger-pointing is taking shape after Democrats failed to get a single concession from the GOP, despite having their first piece of leverage to fight back against Trump. Now the big question, where does a party in deepening turmoil and in open warfare go from here?
You know, I'm a big fan of the oldies, and when it comes to the feelings that Americans, voters at large, and Democrats have, I can't help but think of Chubby Checker. Why is that? Because the question is, how low can you go? Voters' views of Democrats in Congress, the lowest ever approval ratings on record per Quinnipiac University. Look at this. Approve, 21% among all voters. Look at the disapprove level. Holy Toledo, 68% of all voters disapprove of how Democrats are doing in Congress. Now, you might think that is low, and this is the lowest number on your screen here, down at 21%. But I want to bring you over here to how Democratic voters feel, because this is truly unbelievable. Amongst their own party, how do Democratic representatives, senators, how are they viewed? Get this, the plurality disapprove at 49%. More Democrats disapprove of the job that their party is doing in Congress than approve. Get this, only 40% approve. These are truly horrific numbers. They're in the trash bin of history. That is how low these approval ratings are. When you can't even get plurality approval among your own party, you know you're doing something wrong in the eyes of the American public, Jessica.
They are in the trash bin of history. Yikes.
Yeah.
All right, folks, if CNN can admit that Democrats' approval rating is only 29%, you can tell how bad it really is. But it's not only CNN. Even MSNBC is thrilled.
Look at the numbers here for Democrats, 27% positive, more than double 55% negative. And we'll just put this on a graph for you in our poll here. This goes back a long ways, and you can see the trend line for both parties. This is what's happened to the Democrats since the election.
That is astonishing, Steve. That's an historic low, right?
That is in more than 30 years of this poll. We've never seen either party hit a number this low in terms of negatives. Let's just start with Trump himself, that 47% job approval rating. Two ways of looking at this. First of all, if you compare Trump to every recent president this point after coming into office, Trump's number here is the lowest, significantly the lowest of any of his modern predecessors, except Donald Trump in his first term, he was at 40% at this point in 2017. So this for Trump is actually better at 47% than he's done. And what that reflects is it's not that he's built a lot of new popularity since the election, but that coalition that elected him, you're not seeing that disappear from him, at least yet. And there's some things driving that. First of all, the mood of the country. This really jumped out. We ask folks, is it on the right direction or the wrong direction? That 44%, you say right direction, that's up since November. And if that doesn't seem like a lot, the last time it cracked 40%, you got to go back to 2012. The last time it actually hit 44 or higher, January of 2004. So a lot of this is Republicans, but independents, that number is also up since the election on the direction of the country. Also, just Trump and his base, we monitor this. Among Republicans, look at this, basically 3 out of 4 Republicans say it's a very positive view they have of Trump, not just positive. Again, at this point in his first term, it was only 50. It's just the strengthening of that base, the tightness they feel in terms of their connection with him. And then there's the Trump agenda. There are some popular elements of it here. Handling of border security and the immigration issue. 55% approval. That goes beyond his base. You see right there. You hear about DOGE there in the setup. And broadly speaking, the people do think this is a popular idea here. A good idea, 46%. Bad idea, 40%. Look at it this way. When you ask folks, what should DOGE be doing going forward? A third say much more. 28% say DOGE is needed, just needs to slow the pace down. But that's 61% total who seem to say that DOGE is basically a good thing, a necessary thing right now.
It seems like the Democrat Party is stuck in quicksand and is still doing the same thing that got them there over and over again. Listen to Senator Chris Murphy give his opinion on why Democrat rating is historically low, and what he said will show you how out of touch this people really are.
Our new NBC News poll, as you just saw, shows the Democratic Party at an all-time low approval rating. Why do you think Democrats are failing to connect with Americans at this critical moment of urgency, which you describe?
Well, it's what I just talked about. I mean, I think Americans want the Democratic Party to stand up and fight and to take risks. Listen, I understand that had we gone into a shutdown, even for a handful of days, it would have been difficult. But it would have sent a message that the Democratic Party is not going to be bullied by Donald Trump. We are not going to let them write spending bills unilaterally that cut programs for people we care about, that give the president new and extraordinary power. I think Democrats in this country, but I think the broad middle of the public as well, want to see our party fighting in exceptional ways. That is the conversation that has to happen inside of the Democratic Party, inside our caucus. And if we don't get that right, if we continue to work with Republicans, if we continue to hand Donald Trump more power, we are going to lose our democracy.
As the Democrats are battling with low approval rating, President Trump just dropped a massive one on Biden's pardons. Here are the words of the president. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs, and many others, are hereby declared void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by AutoPen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed a crime. That's the words of the president and not mine. Biden's pardons included his family members, Dr. Fauci, General Mark Milley, and J6 committee. Now here is my take. AutoPens aren't new. Presidents have been using them for years. Obama signed stuff with one, even Bush and Clinton did. It's like a high-tech rubber stamp. But here's the kicker. No one's ever really tested if an AutoPen pardon holds up legally. Trump's betting it doesn't, and he's stirring the pot big time. So just imagine the chaos if he's right. Those pardons could be challenged, undone, poof, gone. What do you think? Should a president have to sign every single thing by hand, or is this just Trump being Trump? All right, before we wrap this up, here's the deal. If you're loving this kind of no-filter breakdown, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. We're dropping updates like this all the time, and trust me, with Trump back in the game, there's going to be more fireworks. Oh, and stick around next video. We're tackling what's really going on with those pardons and who's freaking out the most. You won't want to miss it.